So Nouveau Monde, I'll speak mainly in English. We'll do it like Montreal way, some word in French, some word in English. And the first one is Nouveau Monde. What's Nouveau Monde? Nouveau Monde stands for New World. So at Nouveau Monde, we were exploring in new territories, using new tools. Because as Eric mentioned, I did an undergrad in geology. I didn't quite like it. I prefer maths and physics. So I did a master in geophysics. And basically what we've done at Nouveau Monde Graphite, it's exploring in a completely unexplored territories for something we know we can detect with my personal expertise that was airborne geophysics. So in 2012, I founded the company and we brought it public in 2013. And we discovered finally, after 3 years of grassroots exploration, what is now today one of the largest reserve. We just filed a pre-feasibility study in last December. And basically why we decided to do this exploration model, there's only one graphite mine in North America currently. It's owned by Imerys. Imerys, vous connaissez probablement. Imerys, the mother company, is based in Paris, a 5 billion market cap company. They have a division on graphite. In Bordeaux, Switzerland, right here, they do the artificial graphite. In Belgium, they do the carbon black. And in Quebec, they do the natural graphite. So we know for a fact that our deposit, our system was very effective at finding graphite. So we discovered in 2015 a huge deposit that we'll talk to you today. And basically our deposit, what is very interesting to say, it will be the first time in North America since Imerys that another mine is producing graphite this summer. So we're building a first capacity this summer. We'll build a plant. We're financed for it. It's halfway the construction. We'll show you a picture. And we'll be producing 2,000 tons of flake graphite in the next 2 years to qualify our product in advance of the project financing. So that's our strategy. A lot of milestones this year. We'll talk to you about that in the presentation. And basically, it's the only new graphite discovery since 2001. There's other old deposits that were known in North America. Our deposit is the only new discovery since Mason Graphite at Lac Guéret in northern Quebec, in a remote location. So we are located basically in the North American Graphite Triangle. So Quebec Graphite Triangle, but there's no other mine in North America. So you see Imerys is located right here. Montreal is right here. Ottawa, that's where I'm living, right here. And we were doing airborne geophysics at the time, a long time ago for Imerys. So we knew that's how we benchmark our system. And we basically covered a huge area. Imerys has a second transformation plant in just north of Montreal. And our deposit is 2 hours north, right here in a small town named Saint-Michel-des-Saints. Fantastic place for you to visit. So, small note on Imerys, it's the only mine since '89. It is owned by a 5 billion market cap in Paris. It's the most profitable mine in Quebec in 2014. So they don't shut down, it's depleted, and they are shutting down in 2021. And it's not because it's not a good business. It was actually in Quebec recently, all the royalties is paid proportional on the profit. And in 2014, they were one of the only mines in Quebec that was on the super profit, so they paid more royalty. So that's how I can introduce our CFO there, because he was the financial controller at the mine at the time. So maybe it's not good in your resume. You should have found more expense, because they paid a lot of tax that year. It was a good year, yeah. So our project basically, that's my car, obviously, not a Tesla, because there's a lot of graphite in one of those. And the deposit is right there. So if you are all invited, if you want to visit the project, fantastic, from Montreal, 2 hours drive, you can try the car, believe it. It's a great market. I know Gabriel from NOUVEAU don't like when we talk about Tesla, but I cannot excuse myself. I love it so much. And the deposit is right there. We're in the middle of the deposit, and that's the location that now it's all stripped, and we'll show you some picture. So our project basically is two things. Our mission is to serve tomorrow's economy by sustainable development of our resource. And by the way, sustainable development is great to say, but we're really working hard to make a model project. And we're working with a small Switzerland company to help us achieve that, named ABB. ABB, they have a big research center in Montreal for electrification of transport. So we're adapting what they use for bus, like the big charging station. For our operation, it will be all electric, zero emission. ABB is working with us to do the feasibility study, and the great people, they know what they're doing. So we expect pretty good economics, and it will be all electric. We're plugged on the grid, so that's something we do. So what? Tomorrow's economy. Tomorrow's economy, it's today's economy. We need to stay in the traditional market. There's tons of stuff you can do with graphite, so you need to be in these markets. High margin, lower volume market, and you need to innovate, stay at the top of the marketing, and you need to be in the anode material business, obviously, the one going in the battery, and also expandable graphite. We'll talk to you about it. Basically, PFS number. So you can see we have a real project right at the start of my presentation. So 500 million NPV in Canadian dollar. This is all in Canadian dollar, otherwise stated. So you see 500 million NPV, great project. It's 2.3 years payback period. The cost of production in Canadian, it's $539, so $405 to produce 1 ton of flake. That is valued by a third party at $1,429. So $1,000 of margin, and that's only for producing the flakes. And then if you include the value added, we are working currently, I think, including these numbers in our 42101. It's not 42101, but there's a lot of value added going in the battery market. And we're working hard at including these numbers in our next studies. So now we just filed PFS in December, and we're working hard to make a feasibility study for Q3 this year, September, October, and then update this feasibility study with the value add. So that's basically it. So what's our strategy with IMRIS? I was really nice at the beginning, like 2014, 15, when we discovered this deposit the first time. I was always bringing the rock at the mine site. Do you like it? They like it so much that they sent 5 guys, and from the 5 guys, 3 are in our team now. So instead of, IMRIS is never acquiring early stage asset. They always acquire asset when it's at a later stage. It's fine, it's okay. So currently we have no more NDAs with IMRIS. So Charles joined the company a year ago. He was financial controller for 5 years for the mine site, the value-added plant, the sale office in the US. And this summer, Carl actually was born in the small village. We discovered a deposit which helped us in this decision to quit IMRIS. He was a natural graphite operation leader for IMRIS in the last 6 years. So he's the operation guy. He was running the mine site. Great, great guy. You need a guy like this, especially when you build a plant. So we have operators, financial guy, know how to make the money, and hopefully we'll find some expense in our, not pay all the tax, Charles. And Armando Farate was in the last 2 years the marketing guy for IMRIS. So he's a natural graphite market leader. So the sales, so that's, we have the right guy. And Andrew is a fantastic guy for value added. IMRIS were not in the battery market. So we need to go in Asia to get the expertise for transforming it in the anode material. Andrew brought me 5 times in China last year to better understand how they do it in China, to realize, in fact, that there's no reason why we couldn't produce this anode material in Quebec much cheaper because of electricity. But we'll talk it after. So big supporters in Quebec is Quebec institution. We're really, really grateful to have these institutions. They invest since the beginning of the project. Caisse de dépôt here, a small $300 billion fund, the largest pension fund in Canada. They have a roughly 10% if you include fully diluted. Investissement Québec is Quebec government money. They invested in our last round. Desjardins, a big bank. FTQ, a big union with $11 billion. So altogether, it's 25% of the shares. It's trading today at 35 cents. We have 134 million in the bank. We have roughly $9 million, but I can tell you we're spending money now. We're building a plant. It was budgeted for $12 million. I'm pretty confident to get it for $9, $10 million, but in June it will be producing, and we are financed to do the feasibility study and for the demo plant. And we have a lot of warrants, as you see, that are in the money that we expect the money to get in. So we're not planning to go to the market just now, but you know, we are a project. So these slides are for Gabriel. Neolithium, you don't like when you talk the market. We will now, a little bit, because it is important to understand where we're going with the EV. So what's this curve? And this curve is oil market. What's the oil? I know some of you still have oil investment. So I just want to explain when oil investment will be impacted by EV. It will happen, but when? So that's what happened. This curve is the world oil consumption per capita. It all started the oil business. Before that, it was used in lamps, and there was no big market for oil. But 1910, 1924, it was a 60% growth rate at the time, 60% when the Ford Model T started the mass production. And it became slowly the market it is today, huge market. So today, since 2010, it's a 60% growth rate since 2010. It was 60% from zero at the beginning, but now it's a 60% year after year after year after year, and that file I didn't have this year, but I can confirm you that last year, too, it's still a 60% growth rate, mainly in China. I can tell you President Xi decided we go all electric. We will go all electric because it's 30 million cars in China, and President Xi decided 10% next year of all cars need to be all electric. So all the car makers wrote a letter to President Xi. Sorry, guys, we are much better in the EV supply chain. So China is going electric for sure, for health reason, but also for economic reason. All the reason is pushing China to go there. So that's why you see all the car makers following. They don't have choice, you know. So China is leading the way, but there are also big markets in Europe and in Canada, in the United States, obviously. So we keep up with that 60% growth. So with that growth, when EV will displace 2 million barrels of oil a day? That's a big question. When it will displace 2 million barrels of oil. Why 2 million barrels of oil a day? Because 2 years ago, it was what made the price collapse. So every day it's 80 million barrels of oil is consumed. Only 2 million barrels of oil too much on the supply caused the price to collapse. So that's the expert. It's not me. It's coming from Bloomberg. At this current growth, it is 2023 that it will displace 2 million barrels of oil. I was in Abu Dhabi and Dubai 3 weeks ago, and they claim they have 2.6 trillion, Abu Dhabi Investment Authority, 2.6 trillion of asset. But this asset, it's oil. So imagine what they will want to do before. Do you think they will want to reduce the supply or increase the supply? I can tell you, they want to increase the supply. So I really see the problem happening. If at the current growth at 60% will be 2023, but 60% of big numbers will start to have some bottleneck. So probably 45% or 30% growth is more realistic. It's 2025 or 2028. So my point is just, please start to hedge in battery material your oil and gas investment for the sake of the rich place Geneva is. Because it is happening. And why I'm talking about that? Obviously, because in a battery like this, there is lithium. It's easy to say. That's why Gabriel doesn't need to explain all this. It's a lithium-ion battery, so there's lithium. But there is a lot of graphite as well. So for every kilowatt hour, it's 1.2 kilogram of graphite. The black sheet is in graphite, and the white sheet is lithium compound of different minerals. So it's 15% of the weight. It's significant. It's very significant. And today, there are a lot of battery plants being built on the planet. Obviously, Tesla was a pioneer in 2014. They were announcing 35 gigawatt hour plant when the market was 39. But today, after all these years, there's 23 big plants being built like this on the planet. And like Volkswagen, all these guys are not included in there. And I'm just showing that to show you that we are in line to keep up with that growth of 60% in terms of battery capacity by 2021. So there will be 372 gigawatt hour of new battery capacity on the planet, 2021, 22, 23 in these times, and it's only for 5 million EV. It's not a lot yet, 5% of the market, and it represents 450,000 tons of graphite. So it's a lot of graphite, obviously. So, and I don't want to name them all, but Volkswagen announced again last week, they announced last year $60 billion of future investment, but they started to make this investment last week with 25 billion. 25 billion, just to put everything on scale. Tesla is 5 billion, the Gigafactory. Now it's 25 billion only on batteries. So it's a lot of batteries. It's a change of supply. We need to look at graphite differently, how it was made. So, and not even talking Volvo, Jaguar, everyone's going all electric. No more V12. It's all going all electric. No noise anymore for a Jaguar. That's it. So, and in North America, China is big, obviously, but North America is also pretty big. There is LG Chem making batteries. There is Tesla making batteries. There's 13 new battery makers in America we are monitoring, we're talking with. And there's zero supplier. There's only one mine that is depleted. And Emirates is not in that market yet because there was no market for battery in America. So they were not focusing on that. All the market was in Asia before. So we want to be a supplier in that market, obviously. But there's not only Tesla, there's not only the battery market, there's other market as well. The biggest market for graphite is refractory, the bricks. The bricks in the steel making industry was 55% of the market 4 years ago. Now it's 35. Battery was 9%, now it's 25. But there's also all the specialty graphite. A country like China is 67% of the market. But this year, China will become a net importer. They buy mainly the new sources that are coming from Africa. So it's interesting. China now consumes more than they produce. And in America, where we are based, 80,000 tons in the traditional market, but you need to add another 150,000 tons for the battery market. So now will be a market of 230,000 tons in North America, and no one on the planet can beat our costs to deliver to these customers that we know. And we know what they buy and what is their specs, what's the name of the guy. We have all this, the price they pay, all this, it's important in graphite. So just a few slides to show you. You see there's a lot of different graphite products. You have big flakes, it's worth more money than small flakes. Higher purity worth more money than smaller purity. Typically in China, 94, 95%. We are at 97, it gives a premium. We can tap in new markets that you cannot tap in with 94%. But basically, just to show you, the price was drifting down since 2012. Why? Steel makers were not doing a lot of business. It was a slowdown globally, especially in China. So the price was going down while lithium price and cobalt price was going crazy because it's really impacted by the volatility and the growth in the battery market. It's a bigger market, graphite. But since September, boom, last year, 30% growth because steelmaker resume operation, and for the first time of history, battery markets start to have a price maker. They start to be the price maker. So that's the most recent one. And to make it easier, the best guy is Benchmark Mineral. They follow all the mineral price, but they made an index of all graphite products, and that's the recent one from the last month. So you see, boom. So it didn't do the lithium curve or the cobalt curve yet, but people start to see the impact now. So my point is, if you are speculators and you think it's going down, I don't think so. I just think it will go up, but it didn't move up quite significantly yet, and we don't see it happening on the stock like us yet. There will be another ride, a real ride, fundamental ride for graphite. So our project, few slides on the project anyway. It's a very good project. So we're located 2 hours north of Montreal. We discovered this deposit, 14 kilometers of conductors that is all associated with graphite. We're located 5 kilometers southwest of a small town, 3,000 people, great labor, historically a forestry skilled labor place. You see the plant that we are building is right there. Actually, it's already built. We're just refurbishing it, 5 kilometers north. So it's all infrastructure is there, electricity, cheap, 3 cents per kilowatt hour. So everything is there in terms of infrastructure. I know all projects say that, but in that case, you can drive with the Tesla right on it, which is not the case for most of mining projects. So our deposit is 2.3 kilometers now in the PFS, but we're adding this bit here. We just announced 2 weeks ago the new drill result. We added 300 meters here because we received claim that was restricted in the past. So this zone will make a resource update within a month. We'll add quite a significant amount of resource, but most importantly, we'll improve the strip ratio another time. Big strength of our project is the size. It's huge. We can even, that's 27-year mine life. That's from surface to 120 meter. It's open at depth, open along strike, both sides. We have another 45 million ton of ore here that is not in our mining project. So having said that, we have a lot of upside if we want, but this is a big resource. So we have about $2.5 billion worth of graphite in situ just in this small 27-year mine life that we're planning. Very important graphite metallurgy. It's no magic graphite. It's just graphite that need to be placed. So you produce crushing, grinding, float. You need to have a very high purity after simple flotation. So $400 US to do that, and it's valued at $1,429 US because of the flake size distribution and the high purity. Purity is king in graphite, but purity not in the ore, purity in the concentrate at the end. Very important. So what we plan to do in terms of value added, we want to tap in all the market that Imerys is in now, make sure we replace them with their capacity, with a bigger capacity, and also develop two main projects, two main value add. Value add for expandable graphite. It's big business. BASF is buying graphite to put in their foam board, the gray EPS, and makes it fire retardant. And it was approved in the last 2 years as a grade 1 fire retardant. So now they're buying a lot of graphite to put as a construction material. And that's large and jumbo flakes. We develop a small electrochemical process. And the other big market, battery market, it's fines and medium. So the purpose is to have a lot of different options and just sell to the biggest market, make sure we are in all these value add, and we can play, okay, this guy is not, if Tesla, for instance, I know they want it crazy cheap. If Tesla you want it too cheap, I will sell more in other markets. So you need to be diversified like that to have a successful graphite operation. So last two slides, that's the plant we have. We've leased all this section, 100,000 square foot, 10,000 square meter. So there's already 10 megawatt of power. It's permitted. We've leased this. It was an old chipboard plant. 300 million it cost. It's a gift from the US guys. Louisiana Pacific, they shut that down in 2006. And 2 years ago, they decided to officially start to dismantle, remove equipment. So that's the place we are planning to do a demo plant. It's very important to go to commercialize our product right now in advance of our project financing. That's where we'll create value in graphite, to show to the investors that we have a running operation and we have qualified our product. So that's just a live update. That's Sunday night, actually. This Sunday, we just finished to pour all the concrete. So in the last 2 days, they brought in all the equipment that was sitting nearby. So now we're assembling everything. If you visit the plant, late May, early June, it will be close to start operation. The first in-bag, we call the first in-bag, should be in June this summer. So very, very exciting time. And this was in January. We remove all the trees, and it's about 3 football fields. That's where we'll take the 40,000 ton, 5 kilometers south. So we take 40,000 ton in 8 different campaigns of 5,000 ton, bring it there, and qualify our product in the next 24 months. And then early 2020, we'll make the project financing. So last slide, what are the milestones? A lot of milestones. Tesla is everywhere, eh? In the middle of the pit at minus 40 degrees in January. So we started the phase 1 mining in December. You saw the picture. Started the construction. We started actually the full production of the demo plant, I would say, will be in June. And we are talking, obviously, with different market leaders because we have graphite to offer. There are marketing agreements on the table that we cannot talk much, but that's very important. And on the commercial scale, we'll have a PFS update with the all-electric concept, resource estimate, and we are filing the bankable feasibility study for September. So it's a big year for us. Thank you for your attention.